Time's up, Admiral.
Here it comes.
Chevron 1, coded.
For my ally is the Force, and the powerful ally it is. Life creates it, makes it grow.
You failed, Your Highness. I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Cry hammer, and let's set the dogs of war.
Chevron 2 is coded.
Conan, what is best in life? Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, to hear the lamentation of your women.
It's all in the reflexes.
Raul also said you're heavy into martial arts, Tai Chi and all that killer stuff.
I suppose we have to register you as a lethal weapon.
Chevron 3 encoded.
And somebody ought to belt you in the mouth. But I won't. I won't. The hell I will.
Chevron 4 encoded.
Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Chevron 5 encoded.
You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Chevron 6 encoded.
Not for while you can, monk boy.
Great Scott.
Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
Shall not pass! I thought I'd die fighting side by side with an elf.
What about side by side with a friend?
A day may come when the courage of men fails, when we forsake our friends and break all bonds of fellowship. But it is not this day.
Chevron 7 is locked.
Okay, we're live, right? Because StreamYard says we're not, but Studio says we are. This is it literally
my
says
studio says we're good.
Studio says we're live. So we're live. StreamYard, what happened? I don't know. Hail and howdy, everybody. Welcome to Saturday Night Driving, where we try to enjoy ourselves with good movies and have good discussions, and where hopefully everybody ends in a smile. Hi, Jed. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. This week was a difficult one for me with work and everything like that. So being able to sit down on the weekend, watch an incredible film, and just hang out with my bro talking about it is the therapy that we need. I don't need some fancy ass liberal broad with a degree to say, "Oh, you might have depression and ADHD, and can I give you schizophrenia medication?" Just prescribe me a good movie and a bro to hang out with about it.
Dude,
that's
you liked
therapy.
it. You liked it. Was I right? This is a great movie, isn't it?
It's a great movie. I do have some minor complaints with it, mainly with the pacing. The pacing, I think, is my biggest problem with the movie. But I loved the setup, the character work, the twist at the end. I know where I figured it out. And I love when a film leaves the evidence for you to figure it out in one aha eureka moment.
Of the faceless businessman, the entire movie, they set it up all the way from the opening scenes. It's like, there it is. There it is. Oh, do you have this one? Yes, I have a print. Yes, I have. It's there the whole time, and then it's like, oh,
beautifully done. Because it all came together like that for me in my brain. I saw all the disparate pieces of evidence, and it came to the right conclusion. And I just spent the rest of the movie waiting for it to happen, and that's always such a great feeling for me. I do have to admit, I had no idea what this movie was, so you didn't spoil anything for me. You didn't even really give me a description of it. I didn't look up a trailer. I didn't look up a description of the film or a log line or anything like that. I thought it was just a rom-com.
No, it's a serious drama.
I had no idea what was going on when the heist started happening. He's like, is this Die Hard in a museum? That was my first thought. I'm like, what the hell are we doing?
What? Okay, so we are talking the Thomas Crown Affair, the 1999 version, not the 60s with Steve McQueen and Faye Dunaway. We're talking the 1999 with Pierce Brosnan, Rene Russo, and a surprisingly great performance by Dennis Leary as well. So
I do have to ask. Do you know how to say his name correctly? Because I got yelled at
What?
on main event.
Pierce Brosnan. Pierce Brosnan. Brosnan.
Okay, that's what I said, and everyone on panel's like, "Haha, you're such an idiot."
No, it's not. It's not Pierce Brosnan. It's Brosnan.
Brosnan.
It's Brosnan. Yes, I've been saying Brosnan for like over 30 years. It's Brosnan. I've heard it said. It's not Pierce Brosnan. It's Brosnan.
That's what it's like with me with Yoan Grifford as well. A lot of people have been talking about him since he was the Mr. Fantastic from the 2005 version, and everyone's like, "You're saying that so stupidly. Why are you saying it like that?" Like, hey, he's Welsh. I've seen the behind the scenes of Hornblower where other people talk to him. It's pronounced Yoan. It's dumb, yes, but I know what I'm talking about.
It's Welsh. You kind of just have to go with it.
Yeah, with Welsh names, there are some that I just can't get right.
Yeah, so we are talking the Thomas Crown Affair today. Thank you to everybody across the chat. We hope you guys are gonna have a good time. The best way to show that right now, hit those like buttons. Hit those like buttons. It helps with the algorithm. And the algorithm is a cruel mistress who we must deal with on a daily basis. Anyway, so here we are. As I said to Jed last week, you haven't seen this. I really hope you're gonna like it, and I'm so glad you did. And this is a mystery where the mystery is solved immediately. And it's essentially the chase. Is what this is. It's the chase, not only to catch him, but it's a chase of the heart. Because there's a great line from Rene Russo's character, whose name I always seem to forget. Even though I watch this movie several times a year. That's how much I enjoy this movie. This is a comfort zone movie for me because I'm always so satisfied. I think this is the second time I've watched it this year right now.
Wow.
But there's a line where they're at dinner at Le Cirque. I think it was Le Cirque. Or Cipriani's. They're Cipriani. Whatever. One of the restaurants. And he says to her, "I know you like men, and but you never hold on to them very long." She says, "Men make women messy." And it's such a great line because the further the movie goes on, she gets messier and messier from the confident, in control person that she is when she steps onto the scene. And I think the writing in this, Jed, is so, it's just right there. Delivery after delivery, succinct. And this is what you get when you have a nice, small cast of performances. As I said, Pierce Brosnan, Rene Russo, and Dennis Leary, they hit the marks and everything. There's literally only one moment where Rene Russo loses me towards the end. Only one moment where she loses me in her performance. But the rest of it, it's just such perfect performances, and I enjoy it every time, paired with outstanding score choreography. I mean, the score is a mix of orchestrated music and, of course, real songs and stuff like that. But it is literally scored perfectly to the scenes and tastefully done. And one of the things I do love most about this movie is I love the way it looks. Don't you love the way it looks? It's classy. Everybody looks so classy. Rene Russo, even when she's in that see-through dress, she looks classy. And that is, you don't have, I mean, the dress kind of spoils one thing I'm going to say. You don't have to dress like a slut to look hot. And it's just such a high-class level of costuming that they put on her through the whole movie.
That's something that we've entirely lost from modern Hollywood, because I think that's going to be the hardest part for the newest remake that's coming out in a couple years with Michael B. Jordan, is the class of it. We don't see James Bond in a perfect tux. Even in the new James Bond, he's always ragged. He's always a little like baggy clothes and lopsided. After Casino Royale, we don't really see a whole lot of prim and proper except for in individual scenes in those movies. And I think that's the same through a lot of Hollywood. You got to compare it to James Bond because it's Pierce. But yeah, just class is something that's been forgotten, because I think a lot of Hollywood is ashamed of class, because this film, it does a great job at portraying Pierce as he's not a villain. I do not consider him to be a bad person. Not at all. Especially because of the twist at the end of the film of what he does with the Monet. And yeah, he's a bored, a thrill seeker. Is what he's doing wrong? Yes, he's technically committing crimes, but it's at nobody's fault. I love how at the end of the film, the cop who's been chasing him the whole time, he's like,
Leary's, the line, Mike's line.
He's like, the week before this happened, I, caught a bunch of scummy real estate agents, a guy who was beating his kids to death. Do I give a shit about some art swirl, some paint swirls that only stupid rich people care about. I don't give a fuck. And I love that perspective from him because, yeah, Pierce's crimes, they don't hurt anyone and they seem to be resolved. We don't know a whole lot about any other schemes like this he's pulled in the past. He's so good at it that you must assume he's done stuff
He
like
said
this
he's an
before.
amateur though. When they're at his beach house in the Caribbean, he says she's and I love how in that moment she knows he did it. She knows he did it. So they're not lying to each other at all. And it says, are you a criminal? And he says, if you're talking about Wall Street, then yeah, I'm a big criminal. But when it comes to art theft, I'm an amateur. So this is just a highly intelligent man who has made more money than he's ever going to need in his life. Because perfect example, when him and his buddy are playing golf and he gets that chip out of the bunker into did it go in the hole or not? I think it's got near it. I don't know.
Right next to it the first time, yeah.
Can't do that again. He loses like well over $100,000 just to see if he could do it again. And the guy, he says, what else are we going to do on a beautiful Saturday morning?
I was a little worried that they were going to have him do that perfect move multiple times in a row and just be, oh, this is foreshadowing how he's perfect at everything and he's poised. And no, it was doing character work in a much more subtle way. And I love that. His portrayal is very interesting in a way that, yeah, I can't fault him for anything he's done, but I understand everything.
You're rooting for him. You're rooting for him. I mean, because there's something about this where Thomas Crown, he's wanting to prove a point both to himself and to everybody else. Because the fact that he returns the painting literally a couple days later under the guise of the donation, which means it was never about the money, and he only did it to see if he could do it and to find some amusement. He didn't know he was going to find his perfect mate in all of this. He didn't know. And so let me set the movie up. So essentially, Thomas Crown is a finance guy. He owns a massive company that buys and sells everything. You get a great introduction to how his life works, I think, in those first 10 minutes, where he goes to the museum first to drop off the first suitcase that's going to heat up the room and set the stage that he comes there all the time. And that the gallery guys, the security guys know him. Proctors.
They call him proctors.
Yeah. They know him. And this guy's a billionaire and he just eats a croissant while looking at paintings. He just likes to do that. And then you get the shot of the rest of his day. But I do love in that moment, the opening scene with the dump truck almost running him over. He sets that's part of his plan. In that half a second, his own plan almost runs him over. I just find that amusing. His own plan almost runs him over. So, but you get the shot of him. He goes to his building. Some guy's like, "What does this guy own the building?" He goes, "Yeah, he does." And then you get that tight shot on Pierce's mouth. He just goes, just that little smile.
Just a little smile.
It's like he didn't shoot a guy down. It's just like, yeah, I own the building. Yeah.
Yeah, he never puts his weight around as like, I'm the rich guy, I can do whatever I want. It's not Bruce Wayne. I thought there might be a little Bruce Wayne to him, but there's not at all. He didn't have to put his weight around that guy. People did it for him. When he's going into the office, he says hello to everyone very politely, not demeaning anyone for being his subordinates. And he never just, makes problems go away with money, which I think is fascinating. For him, especially, money isn't about power anymore. He's got so much money that he doesn't even need to use the money to attain power. And it's just great characterization for him. I don't know if you would classify this film as a heist film. I think it's close enough to call it a little bit of a heist film or a grift film, but
honestly, yeah. I'm sorry. Sorry.
No, I think this is now my new favorite heist movie, if we're counting as a heist movie, because so many heist movies struggle with the morality of their characters. Like Ocean's 11, I do enjoy that movie quite a bit. All three of those movies, they're not great, but I enjoy them quite a bit. But those movies, they struggle to justify why all these things are necessary. They just,
as it goes farther and farther into,
especially farther. But Benedict being a dick isn't enough to justify robbing that much money.
Yeah.
So they have to make whoever they're stealing from in most heist movies so unlikable that the audience roots against them. But this film didn't need to resort to those tactics. There's no one getting screwed by him. It's not like the museum gallery owner had sweatshops in the basement.
It's a game.
Some shit.
It's a game. He says that multiple times. It's a game. It's a game, and he's trying because you get when he goes to see a psychiatrist played by Faye Dunaway, who played Rene Russo's role in the original flick with Steve McQueen. You could see how disinterested he is in everything. He's bored with life. He has to. You used to from before thrill seeking. He needs something to reach a peak of adrenaline for him to get I don't want to say a feel for it, but just to be interested. He doesn't hate life. He's just bored. He's done. He has achieved the pinnacle of everything. He because one thing I think falls beneath the radar if you're looking at this, when they're figuring out that he's done it and they're seeing who's been buying Monets or bidding on Monets, and they find out he did it, he's already proven he can get any Monet he wants in the auction. So he can buy it, and he wants to get it just to have it for a moment, to prove that he could get it another way, not out of malice, not out of trying to screw anybody over, just to maybe prove it to himself.
Well, he's a man who's defined on his achievements. That's
good way to
what
put
his
it.
whole life is about. And he's gone as far within the law as achievements will allow him to go. So he resorts to the next possible thing. And yeah, his story is really interesting growing up in Glasgow. If that story's true, I don't know if there's
Oh
some
no,
behind-
that was
Yeah, it
true
was
because Rene Russo's character, she got the dossier, so that's it. Boxing scholarship, Oxford,
Yeah,
all that stuff.
that's a really interesting way of showing his progression because yeah, he literally went from nothing to the king. That's like a homeless man becoming Donald Trump or Elon Musk. And so if you made that progression by the age of 41, they specifically call him like 40 or 40 early 40s. To do that much in your life, of course, you're just going to feel lost. If you've achieved everything a law-abiding citizen can do, and that's what you've defined your life off of, what else is there to live for?
Because think about it like this: you make a good comparison. You throw Elon Musk in there, Elon and all his billions. Elon, for whatever one may think of him, he keeps thinking up the new things to push himself further, keep doing things. As a comparison, Thomas Crown, he's just a businessman who has conquered the business world. He doesn't create anything. He just acquires and uses that to acquire more. So he's not a creative in a sense. Therefore, that the drive that Elon Musk has to keep doing it and not get bored and not maybe go to do something criminal to find that thrill. What is the man who's achieved everything? Because that's the tagline of the film. What do you get for the? How do you capture a man who has everything? He has everything that money can buy. But
just as an aside, I miss when taglines were great because that's a perfect tagline to encapsulate the film.
Yeah.
Looking at you, Christopher Nolan, defy the gods is shit. Okay,
because it doesn't describe the Odyssey.
It doesn't whatsoever. No. But and there are other ones like Live, Die, Repeat. That tagline is so iconic, connected to that film that people don't even call the movie Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah,
they call it Live, Die, Repeat.
They changed it because halfway through it, they changed the title to that. The Edge of Tomorrow marketing is one of the worst marketing campaigns for a really good Tom Cruise sci-fi movie. I enjoy that movie.
I really like that movie too.
Yeah, we have to do that one. It's on my list. I really enjoy that one. I have it. I own it. That's how much I like it. But yeah, so for Thomas Crown, it's about the game. It's about the thrill. It's about proving to himself, can I do this? And he does it. He hires these dudes. And I know you appreciated that literal Trojan horse into the gallery. I know you were going to appreciate that.
As soon as they open the doors, I'm like, oh my God, there's somebody inside that horse, isn't there? And I love classic references when they make sense. Like this wasn't just, ooh, I'm a clever writer and I referenced something from Shakespeare or some shit. Like I just watched Undiscovered Country. I really enjoyed Undiscovered Country, but they went too far with the Shakespeare Klingon stuff.
But I still love it.
The stuff in the beginning with the
you'll love it
representative. Yeah, that scene, the Shakespeare in that scene was great, but in the third act when the villain is just shouting Shakespeare for no reason.
I love Cry Havoc, Let's Slip the Dogs. I love it when he's doing that. I love when Kane does that.
It's just so too much. It feels forced to be like, hey, we're intelligent. And so when classic references are done like that, I really hate it. But in this film, it made so much sense because Pierce is a highly educated man. And he's playing the games of sophistication. So, of course, he ties in sophisticated things. And I really like that aspect of it. And
they use a Trojan horse. And they literally say, he used a Trojan horse. It's like, yes, he did.
He did.
And it was a Greek It was a Greek horse. It was a Greek statue too, a fake one because there was obviously made to because they
Right.
fit those guys.
It
in
was
there,
like
but,
plaster or something so they
Yeah,
could saw
yeah,
through
yeah.
it. But
I mean,
that
actually,
whole heist was really interesting with
Mhm.
the fake crew, the
The-
way that he manipulated them with giving them a legitimate plan, except for the helicopter part.
Yeah.
That was a really dumb plan at the end. Obviously, to get them caught. It was intentionally bad at the end. And raising the air conditioning, all these little things that they did make so much sense in retrospect.
and having a guy on there who doesn't speak any English, yes, yes. It's like what? But the Eastern Euro crew, I think the only people who actually suffered were the Eastern Euro crime crew, and perhaps they deserve because they're criminals. So
Yeah.
they deserve to go to jail because they are criminals. They were going to get caught one way or the other doing something else. So, but Thomas Crown wants to steal this $100 Monet for his own intellectual reasons. Let's just say, in the end, his own desires without hurting anybody. Nobody gets hurt. Couple of biggest people who might get hurt are a bunch of Swedes, an insurance company. You have to pay the museum the money, or pay out. That's it. That's who's going to get hurt.
Well,
So
not in
go
this case because he returned it though.
Oh, you almost say that if he hadn't returned it.
Oh, if he hadn't returned it, yeah, that would be
Yeah.
the worst that would happen.
That's the worst thing. The insurance gets paid out, and he runs away. But he didn't want it. He wanted to enjoy Puerto Rico. So he gets it in a brilliancy. Yeah. So you didn't know it was a heist movie, and I don't know if I'm going to classify this as a heist movie because the heist is over immediately.
Mhm.
I don't even know how to. I've been thinking about this since I watched it yesterday again, and I'm not even sure how to, outside of romance, because there is a large romance aspect
Right.
to this movie and drama. I'm not sure what to classify this movie as. It's
You
not a
could call it a
suspense.
grift.
I mean,
A grift film.
a chase is like the closest thing I can have because it's both chasing him and chasing love, and there's a little bit of psychological stuff in there. Not psychological as in break your brain, but
Mhm.
emotional psychology. As Rene Russo's character falls deeper and deeper in love with him, and as he decides to change. What I love about the fact is once she's introduced and she comes in such a hot, classy way. And here's one of my few criticisms. I noticed it yesterday because, again, watching it with the critical eye, her hair gets lighter and lighter as the movie goes on. It's a deeper red at the start of the movie, and it's more an auburn red at the end. I swear it is. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I didn't notice.
It's the first time I noticed it. I've seen this movie a dozen times or more at this point. And I realized, wait a minute, because I'm looking at it, like, is there anything I can criticize in here? And I'm thinking, wait, did they change her hair color halfway through the movie? Has it gotten, because it's really a striking dark red when she walks onto the scene and halfway through, and then suddenly by the end of it, it looks like it's more of a brownish red. So
I have a headcanon for that. It's obviously headcanon, but I'm fascinated by the idea of what you're talking about here, is that it was a dye job and it started to fade as she unraveled.
I wonder. I wonder if it was done on purpose or if it was a miss. And I don't feel like it was a miss because everything is so meticulous in this movie. From the shots, from the costuming, from the words, from the interactions. It's all so meticulous that I feel like that would be a mistake. So that they wouldn't let that get away, because never once, because I always keep an eye on people's hairs in movie, because that's how I watch if there's been a reshoot or not. And Brosnan's cut, perfect the whole way through, doesn't change. Nobody's haircuts change, but I swear the color changes. I swear it does.
I believe you.
Yeah, I swear. But these characters are great. So eventually, of course, he steals it, he gets it, and he returns to me. But of course, now the cops are brought in. Dennis Leary's character, Detective Mike, is in charge of it, and you don't know what's going to happen until Rene Russo's character comes in, and she's basically a bounty hunter for the insurance company, and they give her backstory. Her dad was a hardcore bounty hunter. That's where she gets it from. And what I love about her character is this is 1999. This is how you do strong female character without beating dudes up or demeaning dudes, because she is an equal in mental acuity to Thomas Crown. She is his equal. And that's why suddenly, my point is bringing this up, as she injects herself into his life to try and get a read on him, figure out the painting, he is intrigued by her immediately, that she has come right up in front of him, basically said, I know you did it, and I'm going to get you. And he's like, oh, I'm interested. And then the game changes, because he'd already returned the painting. He'd already returned it.
Mm-hmm.
And without her, the cops never would have gotten a line on him that it was him, because she's the one that says, let's look into who's getting Monet's.
That connection, her investigation to figuring out that it was him, I love that portion because it's all completely justified.
Mhm.
It's not some wild leap of logic that no one could follow.
Mhm.
It was very much like, all right, they were targeting this painting. I don't think this was a crime of money because there were so many other paintings around. This was for the thrill. So who else has interest in Monet's who would do this for the thrill or for the love of the painting? That's a clear line to support your hypothesis. That is 100% a train of thought that makes sense to me. They didn't need to artificially pretend that she was intelligent. Like films love to say, oh yeah, that character's the smartest person around, and then that character does nothing smart whatsoever. They showed instead of told, and it's so brilliantly done.
All of her maneuvers are brilliant maneuvers that anybody else, she gets her man, because the whole first date where she purposefully checks her coat so she's cold, so he'll put her jacket on her so she get the keys to her guy so they can make all the keys so that then she can break into his house, which she can do because she's not a cop.
Right.
She doesn't have to follow the laws because she's not there to get the crime solved. She's just there to get the property back. That's all she cares about, until she cares about him. Until she cares about Tommy. So it's all brilliant. And then the back and forth at dinner as they're probing each other, looking for weaknesses, understanding each other. And then, of course, what I love the most at the fallout from that is how the cops try to get him. They go to her. We're here to search your apartment. Yeah, your lawyer will explain it. Wallace, this is my lawyer. We were chilling out, making dinner together. He was ready for them, and that was brilliant.
He's always on top of things. That's why I think he knew that she stole his keys.
Oh,
I don't think they show it outright. I didn't see them outright doing it, but he saw who was following him. He knew when he was being photographed. He was so on top of everything the cops did that I 100% believe. Whether or not they showed it, I didn't notice them.
No, he did. I noticed her take the keys. I saw her take the keys out of the pocket and hand them off to her guy, because she takes the keys out and she puts it on a piece of art, and her guy walks by and takes the keys.
No, we saw that whole scene. I'm wondering if Pierce noticed.
Oh, I'm sure he noticed.
That's what I mean. Is I'm pretty sure.
You know why? You know why he noticed? Because when he comes back from when he first in the beginning of the movie, after he's left the first suitcase and he's gone back to his office, he takes out his keys and he flips them in his hand. So this is a man who is constantly aware of where his possessions are. He knows that his keys aren't in his pocket when she gives the coat back. You know damn well he knows.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but she got the keys out of the right pocket and put them in the left at the end of the night.
Ooh.
She put them in the wrong pocket.
I missed that. Oh,
so the moment that I think is the moment where he noticed, because I'm not sure if he noticed. I'm sure he did, but I'm not sure if they showed
because
him
he pats his jacket when he goes,
when he's about to go into the car. He pats the wrong pocket and then looks back at her.
Yeah. So I missed that. Good catch. I've as many times seen that. Good catch. I missed that. But then he'd already had the copy made. So he already had predicted she was going to break into his house and get it. So he had the copy in there ready to go, and to have it be dogs playing poker.
It was perfect. I think that's the moment when she really became fascinated with him. Of course, she was a little interested, but looked down on him. Like the scene where he's crashing the catamaran and she's watching with the binoculars. It feels like she's interested, but almost has disdain for him. Like, oh, he's a spoiled brat. I'm going to take him down. But the moment she saw the dogs playing poker, she realized, oh shit, he is actually as good as he's pretending to be. Yeah. And that's when it really became a game for her as well. That's when she got invested.
She goes to the black and white ball in the black dress when she's not with the red. She's not supposed to, completely see through. I'm pretty sure, as I said to you in private, this is the only movie that Rene Russo gets naked. Oh,
And she was for a lot of it.
And yeah, and yeah, she was. And listen, Randa Russo looking good in this movie, looking real good. But then that night she gives in right away because, like you said, she is completely intrigued and she is fallen for it. And after their night of very sweaty sex all over the house, everywhere. And listen, the ladies get a lot of Pierce Brosnan ass, so ladies get as much
equal opportunity.
Equal opportunity arousal for everybody. So everybody gets satisfied with that. But then the next morning, one of my favorite moments when his butler comes in and he puts down that horrible green drink she had. She goes, "I hate being a foregone conclusion." It's like he had it ready. He's like, she's gonna come. I'm gonna seduce her. She's gonna try to seduce me. Let's have at it.
I love that moment because it trusted the audience to remember. Like, yeah, she does say, I don't like being a foregone conclusion, but she doesn't say anything like, oh, wow, you researched me enough to know what I have for in the morning to drink and bought it for me ahead of time. They 100%, they'd already established that with all their back and forth at the dinner table of, look, I know you grew up here. Oh, I know you did that. Like the dossier off that they had, that we know already that he'd done so much research. I love that moment for that.
Yeah.
Trusting an audience is so rare these days that
and
always have to
then
point it out.
From that point on, it's the chase. Now it's different. Now he is chasing whether or not he can have a relationship with somebody, whether or not he's found somebody that can keep up with him. And you watch them together now as their scenes go on. And this is where I assume your pacing problem comes into play, where they drag out me. I feel like, are you going to say they dragged out their relationship stuff a little bit too much through the movie?
Yeah, it's mostly the second act for me. It was getting very slow. I found myself getting quite bored because, they just showed so much relationship stuff. I do appreciate them making sure that we knew how good their chemistry was, how long they were together. I do appreciate that stuff. I do feel like it could be a lot more concise, though.
I can see where they could have gotten to the Caribbean a little faster, because the Caribbean's a very important scene. Because
when she burns the other painting,
the Renoir. But it's also important because she says, this must go over real well for anybody bring her. He says, I don't bring anybody here. And that shows you his commitment at this point. And then after she catches him talking with the bankers and they're on the beach, and he says, what if I gave you double your cut, 10 million? She goes, okay, how would I do this? How would I hide? He says, I teach you. And at that point, he's planting the idea in her head is, we can make this work. You don't have to turn me in, but it's not about money. It's not about the painting. I want to know if it's real, because then you flash forward to her first meltdown when she is now wondering about the girl who you constantly see him with. And she's like, what are you doing? And she gets out and they go through the park, and he says, I need to know if it's real. And he says flat out, I need to know if it's real. I need to know if it's about us or if it's about the painting and about money. And that way I can trust you and you can trust me, because I'm laying it all out here. And it's a good build. But it also now reaches one of my points where I feel Rene Russo's character, one of my small problems towards the end is her flipping out over the daughter of the art forger, the German. That feels too much. It always feels a little too much to me, her final breakdowns over that, because he's already made it very clear that he wants her and her alone, that he's not messing around with somebody else on the side. So I feel like that is the one moment in the movie where her intelligence dips. But then again, someone could say, Adam, you already said her line, men make women messy. That could be her emotions clouding her intelligence. So
she specifically saw another woman in his bed. This other woman was lying in Pierce's bed when she walked in. So I can understand, with everything that had happened, she's on the edge, deciding whether or not to go with him, to keep hunting him. She's at a very vulnerable position, and she sees another woman in her man's bed. I buy her losing her mind a little bit there. I can see it.
I could see it, but I feel like, and again, that's why I said her line, men make women messy. It kind of fits, but I still feel like her intelligence is just dropped down like a half notch. but it still works. Like you said, it still works. But that's like I always have a problem in that moment with the movie. It's like one of my small problems I have is like, oh, come on, you're smarter than this. You've displayed so much intelligence. Give him the benefit of the doubt. But then that's the tipping point for her where she decides to betray him, because at this point, he's clearly getting ready to run, or not run, but be a fugitive with means, as he puts it. And now, like you said, you were not expecting you were expecting, but you weren't expected to play out how it did, that whole finale in the museum. It's just they teased the music in the beginning of the movie. They had teased the faceless businessman throughout the whole movie, and then he walks in and they're all ready for it, because and that's a great scene leading up to it, where she feels like her heart is broken. She's walking in the rain with everybody else having umbrellas, and she goes back to Mike. She goes to Mike's house and says, we need to talk. And it's all set up there. And then here it is. They think they're going to get him. And because he's like, how could he possibly return the Monet in broad daylight? Fact that it was already there. But then how he sets up the whole game in there to just look and distract. Jangly keys, divide and conquer with all the dudes in the bowler hats and the briefcases. To the music, it is just a perfect scene to me. It's a fantastic, well executed scene with everybody just nailing it. And then he just kind of slips away, throws in, he triggers. You don't even see his face at that point. It's just the back of his head, throws in the smoke bombs, pulls the fire alarm. And at some point, you have no idea when he did it, drops the Crown Industries pencils into the grooves of the sliding doors so that the water paint will get washed off. I mean, watching this for the first time, how did you feel about that whole scene?
Oh, that scene was phenomenal. I love his line there. It's like, what was it? Let the game begin.
Let the game begin. Yeah,
let the game begin. Yeah. And that scene, I think, encapsulizes his character the most, in that this is a game for him. This is literally a game for him to see how far he can go. I feel like if Rene Russo's character hadn't been introduced to him at this point, he would have kept going bigger and bigger and bigger, and there would be no stopping him. Like, I think he would start doing incredibly insane heists in the next 10 years if he hadn't fallen in love and found purpose in his life again. Because, yeah, a man of achievement with no more achievements to achieve. I said achievements a lot. Yeah. What else does he have in his life? And then he finds love. And that's something to live for, which he didn't have. So, yeah, just the way that it's set up, the way how he was, we already established that he's more than happy to pay a bunch of people to help him. We didn't need a backstory of him hiring all these guys to participate. And I knew the moment that I knew that it was already there on the wall was the moment he said, I will have that painting back on the wall and you meet me at 4 p.m. at the helipad. That was the moment I knew. All right, we already established he has a great forger who is able to make the dog playing poker painting look like the Monet. So why didn't he do it with this other one? That's the moment I knew how it was going to happen. I didn't know how exactly it was going to play out, because if he wasn't this thrill seeker that had been established, there's a ton of other easier ways to get this painting back into the limelight so they know what it is. Dropping an anonymous tip, paying that little girl from the beginning, the creepy little one, to just walk up and smear it with her fingers. Because they focused on her way too much in a couple of shots at the beginning. I thought she had to be tied to something.
She was focused on so you could hear the disengaging of everything going on around the room there. Because when she looks at things, she hears the disengaging of the security system around during the heist. So that's
I just
why
meant like it felt like she was involved somehow. It's not obviously true or set up that way, but I felt like she had to get involved somewhere. But there, you could have hired a kid just to walk up there and touch the painting. Could have done an anonymous tip. There's a million ways to effectively accomplish the same thing, but it wasn't about accomplishing the goal. It was about doing it in the most extravagant and difficult way possible, because a shell game like that, you have to plan. And I think that's his superpower in this, is he's so analytical, he's so intelligent that he knew how most of this was going to play out. I fully believe that he intended to return the painting like this the whole time. It just changed the time based on whether or not he was going to run away with the girl. That changed when it was going to happen. But he returned the painting before he had a relationship with her.
Yeah, because that's what she introduced. Yeah, that's the moment she introduced herself to him when he just returned the painting. So yeah.
I think was the plan the whole time. He already had the shell game. He already had the whole steps planned out. I don't know if he planned on being outed to such a degree that they'd be looking for him specifically, but a game like this is what he intended the whole time, in my opinion, because this takes way more planning than he would have had otherwise to do it impromptu. But yeah, there's so many examples of that where you've established he's an intelligent character, and then he does something really complicated and insane, but you can buy it because of how much he plans for everything.
And what I like is that he never screws up. And what you would say, oh, falling in love screws it up. No, like you just said very well, falling in love probably saved him from doing worse things, because now he has something else he can build, family. He will now do something, the next great thing one can do with their life, build a family. So him, and what I love the most during that whole sequence is when they capture one of the bowler guys, the briefcase opens up and it just dumps
it's pictures
hundreds
of
faceless of prints of the faceless businessman. I love that. It's like, yes.
There's so many great gotcha moments. Even one of Pierce Brosnan's first scenes at the beginning of the film when he mentioned, oh, I wonder how your board's going to feel when they hear you spent $30 million and everyone else was offering for this. Just those little moments like that. He had a lot of those. I got you.
Yeah.
And those were some of the most satisfying of the film. But yeah, I do believe with how he was portrayed, he didn't care about the mergers. He didn't care about who he hurt in those, that he could have escalated to bigger and bigger things. I don't know if you've seen Psych, the TV show.
Oh, all the way through. The only one I didn't see is the last movie. Never saw the last movie.
It's okay, but the movies are okay. I enjoy the movies, but the shows, I love the
Psych
show.
is funny. Oh, Psych is great.
Now seeing this film, I 100% believe Carrie Elwes's character was designed off of Thomas Crown.
Really?
The similarities I can see are all over the place.
I can see it.
Just escalating the higher and higher things to where the thrill isn't just enough on its own. I think Thomas Crown could have ended up killing someone. Like I think that is the end of this journey if he had continued it down. So she saved his life in more ways than we could know.
And he plans it out to the very end, even with the bowler guy waiting there with the painting another painted. So I want to know how he stole that one. How did that one?
I don't know how that happened.
How did that happen? That is. But you know what? You're not supposed to know. It's supposed to be.
But they've established that he's so intelligent that it doesn't seem shocking.
Yeah.
Like I can buy that he had a legitimate way to do it. It's not just movie magic. Oh, don't think about it. I do believe there's a legitimate plan that makes sense.
I'm okay not knowing. I'm just like, yeah, he did it. I'm okay with that. So, and then of course you think it's over. Her heart. She then says, okay, I'm gonna get there. I got to get there as quickly as possible so we can run away together. But he's not there. She's broken inside, and it's that moment where the ticket check counter girl says, "Ma'am, are you okay?" I'm fine. And then she's breaking down on the plane. Don't cry, Lassie. It can't be that bad. And it starts like, and then her did you do this? He was there. The intelligence on display that he got the seat behind her. He
knew where she was gonna go, where she was gonna pick, but he always protected himself too, because I don't think he knew for sure if she was gonna betray him or not. At the end, that's why there was the second bowler hat guy there next to the helicopter, and he was prepared to, if she showed up without police, I have this plane ticket ready to go. I know where she's gonna go, and then he could obviously change his seat at the last minute. Did they do assigned seating back then?
Yeah, it's first class, so probably.
Okay.
They had those seats, yeah.
But yeah, it's just he planned out everything so well without putting himself out there, which is the brilliant thing. Because like the therapist scenes show, he's never going to be vulnerable until he's certain. And there was never a moment he was vulnerable. Throughout the entire film, I don't see him being vulnerable once.
No.
If the real Monet had been in that box that she burned, that would have been a real vulnerable moment. But he was still testing her. He kept testing her to see if she legitimately was this mythical woman that he'd been looking for so long. And it was at the last moment when he finally was vulnerable on the plane.
Yeah. Because nowhere to go. You're trapped on the plane.
I love the face of the stewardess right then.
Yeah.
Once she saw them start making out, I can't tell if that was disgust or an awe face that she
It
was
was an
making.
awe face. It's an awe face. Now, the problem is also this is 1999, and of course, I think of that with modern day things like you can't do that on a plane. They're gonna freak out. It's like, wait, no, it's 1999. Nobody cared back then. Nobody cared in 1999. So it doesn't have you don't get the same reaction today as you would then. But it's a happy ending, and her final line: "If you do this again, I'm gonna break both your arms," because it shows you, despite everything, she still has her edge. And she is still going to be a match for him, and he's happy with that. And it's a happy ending in a movie that, like you said, you had no idea what you were walking into with this. And the fact that these people who are a little crazy, a little nuts, get their happy ending. I mean, and you think about it, his business, he probably signed everything away because they can arrest him for stealing, because how did he return the original if he never had it before? They never actually have him red-handed, but he does put it on the wall, donating it under the guise of a painting. So clearly he had his hands on it. And it's a problem.
They don't have evidence. I fully believe that if he went to court, there would be a mistrial because it's circumstantial evidence at best. The only thing they have is he donated the painting that ended up being the Monet. That's all they have, because anything that she found, even if the dog playing poker one had been legitimate, that's going to be thrown out of court because of there's no warrant.
Where she got it. And even with the whole matching of the borders, all stuff like that, she got that she didn't get that with a warrant. And also Mike's line early in the movie would be true. Do you have any idea the flesh-eating lawyers this guy probably has? His lawyers would have destroyed it. He would,
and that's more of this is about the thrill than anything else. He is more than capable of getting off scot-free at the end of the film. Once it's been returned, he's got no legal culpability. His lawyers will be able to throw out any case that comes against him, with the only evidence being he donated the painting.
And I'm sure that we know there's probably some sort of statute of limitations. He can come back 10, 15 years later probably, and they won't be able to touch him because the statute of limitations will have expired.
But he doesn't take the easy out, is what I mean. He chooses to go on the run to continue the thrill.
With means, because he's transferred his money probably safely into a Cayman's account where no one can touch it. He probably left his business in the hands of the people, of his dudes who he obviously trusted. You see that clearly. He trusts his underlings, his executives very much. So the business will continue.
Butler has a lot of trust. That Butler knew some shit.
That dude probably got a massive payout. My thought, I was thinking of this. I was, for the first time yesterday, I'm thinking, yeah, you know what? What was his name? Andrew or something like that. Yeah, he probably got a massive payout. He's going to be comfortable for the rest of his life, probably. He's going to go and boom, because that dude knew everything going on there. You know, you don't tell me he doesn't know that the German's daughter is the forger. Don't tell me he didn't know everything going on. And
he was, I think he was acting suspicious there when Renee showed up near the end.
Oh, he left on purpose. He left on purpose. He was under orders, leave in broad daylight so they can go in there, get the dogs playing poker so that he can trigger the next part of the film.
That as well. But I mean, when she found the Russian chick or the German chick in bed while Pierce was packing up at the end of the film, I think he was specifically acting cagey. Like, oh, no, you've got to wait in the living room. You've got to wait in the living room. He's got company. Like, this guy has been poised throughout the entire film. This is way too breaking down of that.
And like you said, he knew he was being followed. Those photographs, he knew they were being taken all the time. It was all set up to trigger her into her reaction. And of course, and they'll never get the German chick. She's gone. She's dust on the wind. She knows how to. She can fade into the background of the art world and go somewhere else and never be. She leaves the country. She's gone. And they're gonna find her. They didn't even have her. They didn't even know she existed under different names. So
and they've got no evidence against her.
Yeah.
Her dad's a good forger who's already in jail for his crimes. They've got nothing on her.
Yeah. So this, I'm so glad you enjoyed this movie. This movie is up there in terms of just cinema art with the way it's performed, acted. Everybody, all these characters, we've kind of gone in and around it. Everybody gives, I said earlier, an outstanding performance. And even Dennis Leary, who's not known for this type of stuff. This is not generally his forte, but he gives a solid, serious performance. No real hard comedy in there. A few good zingers here and there. And portraying, as you said, a cop who in the end didn't give a shit about this, but he did the job. He was going to do his job because he's a good cop. And as Rene Russo's character said at the end, you're a good man. You're a good man who said to her, it's really telling when she kept saying, I'm all right. He says, yeah, I said I was all right when my wife left me. And then I went out and banged 5 women in 3 days and wrecked a car and tuned up a suspect. So, I mean, yeah, you're all right. No, you're not.
He was way more complex of a character than he had any need to be. The film could have entirely focused on Pierce and Renee and forgotten every other side character, but he got some legitimate depth.
Yeah.
I would not have hated the film if Renee had, thought, all right, Pierce is gone. This is just a chapter in my life. I'm going to see what I can do with this good man here. Like, if she had ended up being interested romantically in the cop instead, I would not have disliked that ending.
And Detective Mike was into her. You want to get some pizza? I'm on London time. Boom! Shut down immediately. Anyway, so there we are. You want to add anything else?
Just a couple things. I think it is really interesting looking at the crew behind this film. The fact that I thought it was going to be Die Hard in a museum at the beginning. John McTiernan directed this. John McTiernan has some great range, going from stuff like Die Hard, The Hunt for Red October, to the Thomas Crown Affair. He is a great director that I never really thought about.
The cinematography is glorious in this movie. It's glorious. It's beautiful.
It's
Whether they're flying
effective.
in that engineless plane, getting the landscape shots, the Caribbean shots, the shots of New York. It's all great. It's all great. And we save it for this time of the show. The score is perfect. It's not a score that's going to jump out at you, but it's tied and woven into every scene perfectly and elevates the scenes.
It's one of those films where I consider classical music to be in the same category of references to classic literature, where it can be done for lazy reasons, just be like, oh, I'm super artsy because I had classical music. In this film, just like the classical references, it makes a ton of sense that he would be listening to this type of stuff, that it would be surrounding him. And I didn't notice a whole lot of the music. It didn't jump out to me as being good or bad, but it always fit. I never had a scene where I thought, this is weird. Why are we doing this music? This is against the tone. Never had a moment where I even questioned the quality of the soundtrack.
Yep, exactly. All right, then. So it is my week. I'll go first in my score. As I said, this is one I've made it clear several times. It's one of my favorite movies. This is a comfort movie for me. I find very little wrong with it. As I said, I question Rene Russo's character's behavior a couple of times. You're right. There is a little bit of pacing here and there, like maybe your 5-minute stretches. It could be cleaned up a little bit, but I really don't find anything wrong with this movie. I have nothing to play. The cinematography, directing, acting, writing is so on point, leaves nothing to be desired. So I give this a 9 out of 10. It's a 9 out of 10 for me. I enjoy this movie every time. Always leaves me with a smile on my face. All right, what you got?
Well, I'm not going to be that far off because, the script is immaculate. I think this is one of my favorite Pierce performances. I haven't seen a whole lot from him, to be fair, but this one's right up there with James Bond for me in his catalog. And Renee, I don't know much of her outside of her Thor movies. That's really what I know her from. So this was a interesting treat for me to see what she's really capable of, and interesting treat to see her tits, obviously. But I think, the pacing does bring it down for me a little bit. It does feel like it's longer than it needs to be. And it is about 10-15 minutes longer than the original. So I'm wondering how that transition played out. The only other thing that I see as a potential flaw is I felt like a lot of the psychologist scenes were disconnected from the rest of the film. They gave us interesting insight, and now that you mentioned, I didn't realize that she is the original actor.
That's why they did it. It was paying homage to Faye Dunaway, essentially.
I would have liked a little bit more connective tissue between those scenes than seeing them randomly stapled on. They feel very,
because you have no idea when he's doing that. It's because we understand this whole thing takes place over like a week or two. It's very clear. But when did he go to see a psychologist? But that was mainly done to give Faye Dunaway a cameo,
just to give her
respect.
something to do. There's little ways they could have done it. Had, is there a personal connection between these two? Because they're way more friendly and she knows him way more than she should know a patient. And laughing at her patient's agony in one scene, not really something a new psychologist or like a psychologist to a new patient should do. So they've obviously been doing this for a very long time. And have her be involved in some major decision in the third act. It's cheesy stuff.
I would say that is the weakest part of the movie. The Faye Dunaway scenes are the weakest parts of the movie. I can agree to that.
They have interesting insight. I do agree that, especially at the beginning of the film, it's like, can you ever trust, or can a woman ever trust you? And that sets up the whole theme of the film. But yeah, it needed to have better connective tissue and not feel tacked on. But otherwise, yeah, this film is incredibly tight. A lot of great performances, and the eureka moment. I don't get a whole lot of those, but I love eureka moments. When it happens way too early and it's just blatantly obvious, that will kill my enjoyment of a film. But this eureka moment came right at the perfect time, connecting so many disparate pieces of information that it was incredibly satisfying for me. So I'd have to give this film an 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm okay with that from you. I'm very okay with that. All right, there we go. Now, I told Jed to surprise me with his choices. So what do you have in store for me next week?
Well, we've been doing a lot of serious or action-heavy films for a little while, so I decided to do something a little bit more funny, but with enough narrative meat that it's not like Airplane. We're just like, yeah, that's a good joke. I just watched Airplane for the first time last week.
Really?
Absolutely loved it. I thought it was hilarious, but we could never.
First time watching it is hilarious. When you've seen it 20, 50 times like I have over my lifetime, it starts to lose the funny.
That makes sense. It's very much the shock value is the best part, but we could never talk about that movie on here. No. So one with a little bit more meat to it that is just fascinating to talk about, especially with modern culture as it is. I picked the 2008 film Idiocracy.
Oh, yes! Yes! Oh, Idiocracy! Oh, man, I love that movie.
I do have to preface, I've never seen it, and I didn't know he was going to have this reaction.
So
I made the right choice.
You'll understand when you get there. You'll understand. Dun, dun. Oh, the bulldozer. Oh,
okay, so I made the right choice. It was between Ex Machina and Idiocracy. Okay, I think I went the right way.
Idiocracy. You're going to understand the meme. Oh my God, we're living in Idiocracy. We know how Idiocracy is going to get here. We're living in the times that are going to lead up to it. You will understand the memes when you see it. Oh, yes. I have that one on tap. That was the ones I have on tap. Yes, Idiocracy. Oh, we're gonna have some laughs. Welcome to Costco. I love you. You'll understand when you get there. Welcome to Costco.
I was worried about this choice. Like, it's been on my list for a while, but I'm like, are we gonna have enough to talk about? I've never seen it, so I don't know how you would react to it, if you like the movie or not.
So much to dissect. There is so much.
I've seen clips of it, and I've enjoyed the clips.
Idiocracy is glorious. It's glorious. All right, so we're gonna have fun with next week. It's gonna be a good one. All right, so thank you everybody for joining us this week. We hope you guys had a good time. We'll see you next week with Idiocracy. And I already have my movie picked up for next time. So also guys, we're heading into August, and that means it's third quarter of the year, which is back to Chat Choice. Chat Choice comes around again. So yeah.
What are we gonna get this time?
I don't know. No, it better not be Apple Dumpling Gang 2. That's for damn sure.
Oh.
Anyway. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. Take it easy. All right, I had to end it in studio because I can't end it in here. All right, that was good. Oh yeah, Idiocracy. Oh man, you're gonna the insanity and stupidity of that movie is you have to just go with it.